Oh, hi there, and welcome back to One of Swords TV. I am One of Swords, Dan Amrich. I'm the community manager for Activision, and I'm here to answer, or at least try to answer, some of your questions about Activision and the video game industry in general. If you have something you'd like me to tackle on the air, just send me an email to youtube@oneofswords.com, and I'll do my best to tackle it on a future episode. This week's question comes to us from this other monitor over here, Nelson Batista, who says, why does region locking exist? Isn't that just enforcing piracy? Short version, no, it's not enforcing piracy. I don't think you're going to ever find any major publisher trying to encourage people to rip them off. So let's just start with a logical problem there. If you're not familiar with the term, region locking means that most, not all, most video games that are made for a specific game console only run in that one console. In that territory, sorry. So like an American Xbox 360 game does not run in a 360 that you buy in the UK. It's region locked to only work there. Sometimes DLC is also that way. For instance, Call of Duty DLC is region locked so that it only works in the area that you bought it. On the other hand, Sony, on the current generation, PlayStation 3, pretty much every PlayStation 3 game is not region locked. So you can play an imported game on an American console, no big deal. It's just a choice that Sony made. So it really is up to the publishers of the game if they want to enforce region coding, and it's also up to the hardware makers. But the main reasons that region locking exists are business oriented. Let's say, for instance, I don't know, Speed Racer. Okay, here's an example that is based on reality, but I can't remember all the details. There was a Speed Racer game that came out in Japan, and I was a Speed Racer fan, and I was looking forward to it. But it wound up not coming out in America because a completely different company had the rights to Speed Racer in America. So you can't infringe on that Japanese company's rights or that American company's rights by releasing the game in the opposite territory if you don't have the legal right to do it. So region locking sort of helps police who has the rights to make what money in what territory. So it's a business reason. Another way is to keep pricing competitive. Sometimes games don't always come out in the same area at the same time. So if it comes out first in North America and then later in Japan or vice versa, you don't want people like price gouging people who just want the game. And you don't want it showing up on like a gray secondary market. If you're going to just, do a legitimate release that you can walk into any store and buy, a couple of months later, sometimes even a couple of weeks later. So, that's an enticement for people to not go to all the hassle of importing a game that's not going to run anyway, unless, of course, they have a dedicated console that they bought from the country that they're trying to import the software from. A lot of people have, both, in England, I know a lot of people that have a British Xbox 360 and an American Xbox 360 just for that reason. And that's totally fine, but that's different, that's why they have region encoding. Like, if you want to go to all that trouble, you go right ahead, but most people just want to go down to the local store and buy a game. It also, to a certain extent, helps people that make the games figure out what is selling where. Like, is Speed Racer more popular in Japan? Is Speed Racer more popular in America? We made a version for each of those territories. Which one did better? Should we refocus our efforts there later? That kind of stuff. So it gives them some useful information that, that helps as they build new games. And, of course, the last one is sort of political because it's, is the content that you're releasing in Area A, in Country A, acceptable in Country B. Germany, notoriously hard-nosed on things like violent content in video games. Australia, for years, has suffered. Gamers there have had to deal with very heavy-handed laws about what's appropriate in a game and not. So if you region encode the American game so it only runs on American consoles, that makes the German and the Australian governments much more comfortable because they know that you can't just sort of import the game and it would run like that. You would have to go to all those extra layers. So it's mostly business-oriented stuff. Honestly, the way that I look at piracy, not only is no publisher going to encourage people to pirate them, like you say, is it enforcing piracy? No. But if DRM schemes and like really complicated algorithms and software protection does not stop pirates, why on earth would something as simple as a region lock stop pirates? And why would Sony therefore not even bother to region encode all their games? Everybody's policies are going to be different, but I don't really believe that region locking and piracy have any direct link in that case. I think it's really just about who's making money and where they're making the money. So, that's my take on it. If you have a question for me, go ahead and send it to youtube@oneofswords.com. I'll do my best to tackle it on a future episode. In the meantime, please go to oneofswords.com. You'll find giveaways, blogs, podcasts, all kinds of video gamey stuff, specifically about Activision, but, some other stuff thrown in too. So, hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you here again soon. Bye!